What can you tell me is the craziest thing or the most interesting thing about Ketchikan?
The winter time, everybody turns into an alcoholic.
For the next 11 days, I will venture into the most isolated place in America.
You see a couple abandoned buildings there, and there's just essentially nothing here. Pretty intense rain. It's been a hit or miss every hour or so, whether or not we can see anything out here. It really feels like the population here is only 1,200 people.
This is Alaska, a land so big that it's larger than the state of Texas, California, and Montana combined, yet so remote that its population density is nearly 5 times lower than the next emptiest state. But what if I told you this isn't Alaska's defining feature? And what if this trip isn't just about crossing into the last frontier? That this journey from Vancouver to Alaska, through glaciers, ghost towns, and crazy places in vast emptiness, is also the final chapter of a 30-year mission. Here's the thing, my brother, my dad, and I have spent our lives chasing a goal most families never even consider. We've visited all 49 states, with only some of them together, but we made a pact that the 50th would be all together. It took some time with life getting in the way, school, jobs, you name it, but Alaska, now this is the place we had to do together, because Alaska is just different. You only find one person per square mile in some areas here, and the isolation became our metaphor. In a journey filled with questions, we hope to explore 6 cities in Alaska. The first 3 will be traveling by sea on a cruise ship, and the other 3 will be traveling on land. But first, we have to start from Vancouver, Canada, to board the ship to this dream destination. Boys have made it to Canada.
Alright, this is it. We are about to enter the cruise ship. First cruise for you, Dad, right?
Yes, sir.
Alright, and this is the boat. That is massive. Here we go, bro. First touch in.
After 31 years for me, 35 for my brother, and over 70 for my dad, we decided to mark this final milestone with a journey as unique as the goal itself. And that's the reason why we chose a cruise.
Right now we're in Vancouver, Canada, so we have just a couple hours while we're here on the boat with the probably few hundred passengers that are on this ship, and 2,000 passengers that are on this ship.
There are maybe 2,000 passengers on this cruise ship, but I doubt there's anyone more excited to be on this ship than my dad, because he gets to spend this time with his 2 boys. My dad is a go-with-the-flow type of guy. He has been known by his siblings as Switzerland, as he does his best to maintain a positive relationship with everyone he encounters. And as you can see on the right side, that's my brother Cody. He is a tech entrepreneur and founder of the company Bounce. I will say, it can be hard to catch his personality on camera, but I can tell you confidently that spending just a week with him, you'll be ready to build an empire yourself. From up here, you really get a sense of the scale of this journey, but let's get a little more grounded and head downstairs to the cruise floor and see where we'll be calling home for the next few days.
This is what a cruise floor looks like. Mr. Candy, Mr. Candy, and Mr. Candy. We got 3 Mr. Candies right here. So we just got into the room here, and this is what a cruise room for 3 looks like.
This room was very small compared to what we are all used to. A room the size of a large bathroom for the 3 of us to rest and recharge in between our Alaskan exploration. Since this room isn't necessarily the best place for us to hang out, we decided to go for a walk and see what else the cruise ship has to offer.
All right, this is our first look at the pool. So we're gonna be hanging out here. We've got a hot tub, couple hot tubs over there, a nice pool right in the center of the boat, surrounded by lots of tables here. So I am excited.
We didn't expect that after just a little while out here, this huge ship would almost have us getting lost. But luckily, we met a woman who was going to give us a tour around some parts of it.
Kamusta ka? Mabuti? Alright.
Welcome on board.
Oh, maraming salamat.
Maraming salamat din.
Anong pangalan mo?
Ora.
Ora. Mac. Ako si Mac.
Smack. Yeah?
Ako si Cody.
Michael.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you both.
Oh, look at this. Alright. These are like stone chairs here. Oh, they're warm. They're heated.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh. That is very nice. Oh, maraming salamat.
Your brother?
Yeah.
Brother or twin?
Both.
Twin?
Sometimes. He got the better looks though.
Morning until 10 o'clock in the evening.
Oh yeah. That looks good.
For the next 2 hours, we explored all over this massive cruise ship, something that really reminded me of the movie Titanic. because that was the only tour I had ever seen of a huge cruise ship. So I kind of imagined the experience to be like that, and this ship had all the charm we had imagined. A gym, coffee shop, conference room, and very shocking to me, it even had a casino. And we have found the spot we can make some money. They've even got a casino on board for everyone that's ready for their lucky day to make some bread. I think we're the only ones in here. Slots, tables, piano bar right over there. And we need to pause the video for just one moment because I have something so cool to share with you. And that is today's sponsorship, which is Claude AI. And what Claude does is it records conversations and immediately turns them into notes that you're able to send out, whether you were in a meeting, if you were talking with a friend about a trip, or just simply brainstorming out loud some ideas you had. Claude AI is able to capture all of that information, immediately using AI technology, analyze your entire conversation, and then formalize it into very clear notes, things to do, task lists, and everything. So for the past month, I've been using this and it has absolutely morphed my life in so many different ways. And I can tell you that the ease of using this versus a phone app is that you can just set this up right there, clip it on, and now everyone at the meetings, voices are being picked up very clearly. You can even wear it as a watch. So it can really save you so much time if you were just writing simply notes on a piece of paper or marking them down on your phone in the Notes app. A perfect accessory to your phone for note-taking. Hands-free, no phone battery consumption, no taking up storage. Whether you work in corporate, whether you're a content creator like myself, there are so many different use cases and it's waiting for you. So head down to the link in the description below.
And let's get back to the video.
As the cruise journey began towards Alaska, a question I've never asked my dad before came to mind. Why, after seeing 48 states by the age of 35, had he waited another 35 years to finally visit his last two states, Hawaii and Alaska? How come, Dad, you never wanted to add the last two states to the list? We're talking, what, 35 years later, and now we're finally checking them?
Well, I just had a small little inconvenience. Actually, not an inconvenience. I had a small convenience that prevented me from it, and it was called the family. Anyway, so I didn't have the opportunity to do it because I had to kind of take care of and raise my family.
Fast forward, somehow we matched it up where in the last year and a half, I went to Hawaii just a couple weeks back. My dad went to Hawaii within the last maybe 8-9 months, and my brother in the last 2 or 3 years. Our first day was wonderful, spending time together and exploring the cruise ship. And since it would take another full day to reach our destination, our second day gave us the chance to see some truly unforgettable views while being right in the middle of the sea. The whole experience was amazing, and we were now so close to finally reaching our long-awaited destination on the third day. And good morning, my friends. Today is the day, the beginning of the third day on the cruise. As you can see, I just woke up, but today is a special day because my dad, brother, and I are about to walk out onto our 50th state. So we're gonna be going and stepping foot in Alaska in just a moment here. But first, I wanted to find where my brother's inspiration to travel to all 50 states came from.
My initial inspiration was, of course, my father right here. When I was in 3rd grade, we had all moved to Wisconsin together, and I was in a class. In class, we talked about basic statistics one day, and the homework assignment was to go home and ask your parents how many states they had been to. I asked my dad, he said 48, and I forget what the average was. It was probably in the teens of my other classmates. Here were all the numbers listed out, and then my dad stood out like a sore thumb at 48. My teacher or my classmates asked me, like, oh, is that real? Can you check and make sure that number's right? My dad shared, yeah, it was right, 48. He was a hippie and visited a lot of states in his younger years. Had a goal himself to go to the 48 continental U.S. states, and I felt like you could connect with someone more if you had been to where they were from. And so I thought if I go to every state in the United States, then no matter which American I meet, wherever they are, I will be able to connect with them to some level.
You can see how the ripple effect is. My dad inspired my brother to start exploring states, leading to him exploring all over the world. And back when I was younger, my brother brought me on a couple of road trips all around the country. And that's what brought me in to the idea of, hey, let's visit all 50 states. I'm not sure if I should be bursting with happiness that we're about to achieve this long-held goal, or feel emotional about these moments passing before my eyes. Moments that Cody and I dreamed of since we were young, times when completing this goal felt like it would never happen. Whatever my emotions are, whatever I'm feeling, the truth is I'm here now, completely lost in this moment, with a smile on my face, watching my dad about to step onto this land.
Gotta get a red carpet here. They got the gray carpet for you, Dad. Here it is in Alaska. All right.
This journey, this story of ours, isn't just about reaching a single goal we all aimed for and achieved. It's about a family sharing a common vision and the same emotions. It wasn't that my brother and I were born with this goal of completing all 50 states, but it was something our dad unintentionally started, and we wanted to join in and turn it into a mutual goal. Growing up, we saw how much travel shaped and meant to him, so we wanted to experience that as well. But it feels completely different, so much more meaningful now that we've stepped onto this land together. There's no better feeling, no bigger accomplishment than completing this journey as a family. This reminds me not only how being with family enriches every moment, but also how easily we can take it for granted. It's the start of hopefully some of the best moments my dad's going to experience in his 70s. Our journey began at Alaska's southeastern most major settlement, Ketchikan.
I'm slowly fading through the smoke. I can't hear myself think. Now every day since I woke up, I can finally see.
With a population of around 8,000 people, Ketchikan is known to be full of Alaskan native culture, history, and art. Since we only had a few hours there, we tried to see as much as we could. So our first stop was at a creek where, depending on the time of the year, salmon could sometimes be seen spawning up the river.
So where we're at right now is we've got this huge river running right through here, and you can see this guy is fishing for something down there. How we doing? What do we think of the first stop?
Nice. They're doing the upsells.
Yeah, I know. Lots of upsells. So what was your name again? Carson, Matt.
And this is Carson, a true local legend who is also our tour guide for Ketchikan. And let's just say he was quite the character, especially with some of his interesting insights about this very unique town.
Nice to meet you. You're an Alaskan native?
Lived there since 1968.
I consider you a native by now then. You always lived in Ketchikan?
No, we lived up in Skagway, and I've lived in Petersburg and Wrangell.
Okay.
A bunch of different little Indian villages.
What about Skagway? I've heard that's one of the best places along the tour that we're going on around
It
here.
is a really beautiful place, yes it is. But it's changed a lot since I've been up there.
Unfortunately, there was not much to see during our first stop, so we headed over to the Alaskan Rainforest Sanctuary, hoping to actually see some salmon, because Ketchikan is actually known as the salmon capital of the world.
So we're over here at the Alaska Sanctuary right here in Ketchikan, and over here sometimes you're gonna see bears in the distance, salmon swimming up the stream. There's a bunch of like eagles and birds just looking to get a nice morning meal right here. You can sometimes see those salmon moving all around here, but it is a cool place. At any moment we could have a bear come up behind us. We arrived around 6:30 a.m. I think we made it off the boat by 7 a.m. And then we were able to get on like a 2-hour tour where we're going from the docking area all the way down into some areas where the salmon spawn. And then we're also learning about totem poles up here with the huge Native American influence. And in just a little bit, we have a huge surprise we're going on, which I'm so excited for. So get ready for that. So what can you tell me is the craziest thing or the most interesting thing about Ketchikan?
The wintertime, everybody turns into an alcoholic.
Oh yeah? So there was 48 bars previously. Now how many are there?
About 12
About 12. All right. So those are probably fully packed in the wintertime then, yeah?
every night.
Yeah. Cruise ships are only coming here till September, so is the rest of the year just kind of a quiet, chill time where not much sunlight?
Well, it gets sunlight from about 10 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon.
Oh wow, okay, so that's a short day. People are a little sadder than in the evenings. I guess that's where the
why they're in
drinking
the bars all the time.
Yeah, yeah. How'd that look, Dad? You see any salmon out there?
I did.
Man, you must be getting hungry.
Hungry.
A little fresh.
Like a wolf.
After our morning trip, we returned to the center of Ketchikan. Carson had mentioned only 12 of the original 48 bars remained, as the rest had been turned now into cultural houses.
We're in the center of Ketchikan right here, and what we're surrounded by is a ton of different structures that were once bars, and now they're more like tourist attractions. This one right here, known as Dolly's, used to be a brothel. But having never seen a museum like this, I decided it might be worth checking out. And what happens next was nothing like I would have ever expected.
Dolly, she was born October 5th, 1888 in McCall, Idaho. She left home at the age of 13, making her way to the Seattle area, waiting tables, practically starving. Got introduced into prostitution at the age of 18 and realized she could make that money. Back in the day, he danced with the girls, and for more money, you went upstairs. The gentleman only made $1 a day for a wage, and alcohol was illegal. So she smuggled in that good Canadian whiskey. She had the hookups. Late at night, the rowboats would come up underneath the house. She'd open up her trapdoor, hoist up all that good alcohol. For a full shot, it was $2. For a visit with Dolly, it was $3. Wow. Around town, they said you can get hammered and nailed at Dolly's house for $5.
Wow.
Whenever Dolly first came here, these ladies were only charging 50 cents. She's all, F that, $3. She never did smoke or drink, but she could cuss like a sailor.
Ketchikan might be small, but it's definitely known for its party and wild life that it once has and still has a bit of it.
After saying goodbye to the legend Carson, we reached our next huge adventure, which was to take a plane over Ketchikan. But this wasn't just any plane, it was a seaplane. And if you're wondering, does it really run on the sea? It doesn't only float on water, but the sea is quite literally the airport for takeoff and landing.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey, good, and you?
Good. Come on over. Couple things. Watch your head on this wing. You will hit it.
You're trying to flatter me.
Yeah. And we'll get co-pilot in first. Whoever wants to ride up front, we'll get you loaded, and then 2 guys in the back.
You want it, Dad?
No.
Why don't you do it?
No, you go for it, Dad.
Okay.
Fitting in there, Dad?
I'm good.
All right.
Straight on that float there.
Sweet, thanks a lot. All right, so we got our pilot Luke, and we're gonna be heading up in the air. It's what, like a 30-45 minute flight?
Yeah, hour. Yep.
Oh, hour, sweet. All right. So as you guys can see, we have a small little space here. We fit 4 nice and snug, but it's gonna be a cool ride. We're taking off from the water, so this is gonna be pretty insane. How you feeling up there, Dad? Very good. And here we go, we're taking off. But I will tell you, these views are insane. So we're up here, it's about $300 per person for this plane we're gonna be taking. And you can just see all these tiny little islands right here. Wow, that's Alaskan paradise right there, my friends. This whole area has been carved out by glaciers 10,000 years ago. They were over a mile high, and this is what happened when they all melted and carved out these incredible mountainous landscapes right here. And as you can see, guys, we're literally flying right through them. That's a waterfall that looks like right down there. We're going to be going right past the lake straight above it. That is something else.
The views up here were truly something that I could have never imagined. the limitless views of the vast mountains in the distance, contrasting with the sea and lakes reflecting the bright sunlight, was something we had never experienced from a seaplane, and especially not the three of us together. Ketchikan, being our first stop in Alaska, was very different from the common belief people have of this state. It was quite a touristy town, but it had some of the isolated Alaskan charm we were seeking to find, especially when we were up in the seaplane. We were about to be hit with reality of what it actually means to be isolated as soon as we would arrive to the capital city of Alaska, Juneau, on the 4th day.
Today is day number 4 of the cruise, and we are arriving to Juneau, Alaska, which, as you can see right up here, we've got not the greatest weather. We have towering mountains all around us with the clouds kind of seeping right into the luscious green forests right there. And it's just kind of a really eerie, unique place to be coming into, because you see a couple abandoned buildings there. I'm not gonna lie, on a day like today, it looks a little depressing with how rainy it is. And fast forward a few minutes later, my friends, we have made it to Juneau, Alaska. This is exactly what I guess I would have imagined Alaska to be like. Luscious forests with some of those early morning clouds and fog rolling right through the trees. Weather is not as we expected it like Ketchikan, but it is a cool place. Right when you walk up, we've got a National Geographic book. How we doing? Magandang umaga. You know, Juneau is a town of just around like 30,000 people, so it's a pretty small city, but the landscapes are phenomenal though.
Juneau being the capital city of Alaska, you wouldn't expect to hear that it is actually quite small in terms of population. However, it happens to be the second largest in the United States by area, spanning over 3,200 square miles, making it larger than the state of Rhode Island. This vast area, yet small population of just 30,000 people gives you an idea of how isolated life is like out here. Interestingly enough, the saying all roads lead to Rome doesn't apply here in Juneau, as its roads only connect within the city itself. The only way to get here is by sea or air. This place receives more rain than Seattle, with a whopping 230 days of precipitation per year. And as chance would have it, we arrived on one of those 230 rainy days. But we wanted to make the most out of this gloomy weather, and so we decided to go whale watching, despite there being a bit of a storm.
Whale watching in this part of the world is some of the best you can find in the entire world. They have a 100% whale watching guarantee. So that's pretty crazy. That just gives you an idea of how many whales we're expected to see. And so, yeah, I'm super excited for this.
There was a ton of excitement to go whale watching, but it became even more clear that the weather was not going to improve.
All right, we have arrived here. It is time to go out in this pretty intense rain to do some whale watching. Right over there, it looks like we've got Juneau whale watching boat. You ever gone whale watching before, Dad?
Never.
All right, first time then. All right, that looks like us right there. Alaska Tales whale watching. All aboard.
We crammed in a decent-sized boat before we reached the area where we hoped to see some whales.
I have a feeling we're gonna be able to see a lot of whales today. What about you, brother? Whales?
I hope we see at least one.
At least one. All right, I'm hoping at least like 50.
50 would be great.
Yeah, at least one. At least one. All right. All right. After a nice little boat cruise, we are out here in the wilderness, and there's tons of boats all in the distance here. We should be seeing some whales here. I'm probably gonna switch over to my phone so we can zoom a bit. But let's head on up. Excuse me. How are we looking up here? Anything?
Nothing yet.
It is a colder ride here. It's pretty crazy because if you guys saw my other videos, I've been all over the Middle East recently. So it's a completely different climate out here in Alaska. Rainy, cold, and this is literally everything I've brought. Just a light little sweater. And we are trying to stay warm while looking for these whales.
Although the weather wasn't great in Juneau, we still managed to see some whales from a distance. While visiting Juneau was a fun time, it left me even more confused about Alaska. I was surprised by how different the two destinations we had made it to so far actually were. Ketchikan felt like 5 adventurous hours loaded with things to do, yet Juneau had a very different vibe. It felt like it was more than just a town solely designed for tourists. I was not sure which experience reflects the real Alaska, but I knew one thing for certain, that we needed to explore more to figure that out. So, after another day of cruising, it was the 5th day, and we were arriving at the final city of this part of the journey. Welcome to Skagway.
And we are disembarking from the cruise ship on our, I believe, 5th day, 4th night complete. So here we go. And today we are in Skagway. So from what we've heard from the crew here, one of the best things to do when you're out here is hopping on the train. So we're gonna see if we can find ourselves some train tickets and head into this beautiful part of Alaska that seemingly looks untouched besides this small little pocket right where the cruise docks up.
Skagway is said to be the place in Alaska with the most beautiful views, sitting in a thin section of Alaska that runs through the Canadian border. Even though it may seem like it could be in Canada, when you see it on the map, it is actually right on the border, but on the US side. And as we walked the streets, one thing became very clear to us.
So we were walking through the streets of Skagway, and it did not take long for us to realize that it really feels like the population here is only 1,200 people. It's one of these places that is built around tourism, but you can see why. I mean, in every direction you're surrounded by incredible mountainous views. And I think today, I don't want to jinx it, but we might have some pretty decent weather. We've got blue skies coming in this way, a little sun peeking through, but it's a cool little city. I mean, I'm absolutely obsessed with trains personally, so to see these cute little train cars right here going through this area will be such a special sight. And it just looks like a little railroad town.
And that's no coincidence, because it boasts what I can arguably say is the best train ride in America. And that's exactly what we were about to experience.
Today is a special day because we're gonna hop aboard one of the most beautiful and scenic trains in the entire country. And here it is right here, the White Pass train arriving. So we've got the group here. We're all about to be hopping aboard this thing right here. And look at this beautiful thing. It's gonna take us about 40 miles up into the mountains. And as you can see, the weather is perfect today. Let's hop aboard. All right, so we gotta find our spot. So we've hopped on the train. I guess each one of these can hold nearly 45 people. Comfy seats, 2 people. So here's what it looks like. We've got the Co-Dog, the Bro, right back there. And heading in.
The train we're on has been running on these rails since the late 1890s and was initially created to transport prospectors and supplies into the mountains, and it was used to bring those items from the port of Skagway, Alaska, towards the gold fields in the Yukon Territory of Canada.
Purpose for the railroad was for the gold rush. That's why
the gold rush.
Yeah, it needed to be built. However, when it was complete, the gold rush is basically over. Right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
With things like that, especially in California gold rushes, they stop as quickly as they start.
Right.
So many times this railroad had to repurpose. It was 110 miles of track that they had laid at that time.
110 miles. Wow.
Yeah.
And that time it was more for transportation. Now it's more for tourism.
Yeah. The whole purpose. You probably want to get this shot real quick.
Oh yeah, we don't want to miss out. Parker knows all the best shots, so if he says it's time, it is time. Look at these valleys with snow-capped mountains in the distance. You just cannot beat that.
Now in present day, the train is used for tourism, taking you nearly 3,000 feet up from Skagway, witnessing landscapes that are truly like no other.
And now we can get the true Alaskan train experience right now. We're taking this thing way deep up into the mountains here. As you can see, it just carves right through, and it's a one-way track, so we have no concern of trains coming this way. But yeah, I mean, this is incredible. This is what you come for in Alaska. Get that Insta360 cam right out there, and look at this. Yeah, we're fishing for more content. Let's go.
Not only did this train take us deep into the mountains and over the cliffs, but we were also traveling through incredibly narrow passageways, making us feel unbelievably close to some of these massive rocks and land formations.
We're going through some tight spaces here. If I reached my hand out all the way, I could probably touch these rocks. It's carved out right in between here. This is just wild though. I think out of all the things on the entire cruise experience, this was number one that I was most excited to experience, was hopping on a train and seeing Alaska's wilderness this way. woman who sold us the ticket said it is the #1 best thing to do in Alaska. Would you agree?
I would agree. Yeah. Wow. There's not, I mean, it's so unique, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, obviously, I rode the ride 300, 400 plus times.
Right.
I know the route, I know the landscape, I've done it a lot. But I know a lot of people that do come here, sometimes for the only times in their life, right?
Yeah.
And they're so amazed by the scenery.
Yeah, that's it. So we did it, Dad.
Yeah.
The #1 thing in Alaska. I'd say that's how we do it. Well, awesome. Thank you, partner. Really appreciate it. It's a pleasure to meet you, and happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah. All right, look at this. You can just see a massive drop off right there. Like I said, we are right on the cliff here, just surrounded with picturesque views that makes you feel like you're in some sort of movie going through the evergreens here. Oh my gosh, that's a long way down right there. Imagine if this thing swung open. That would not be fun. But here we go. We're entering in the dark tunnel. How does this compare to other train rides you've been on, Cody? Have you ever been on anything better?
It's pretty top.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say it's near #1. You've been on the Sri Lanka trains, right?
Yeah, I think Sri Lanka has some nice views as well.
Sri Lanka's probably #2 in line for me, but I think Alaska's taking the W, you know? Best nature for last, bro. Wouldn't be the way it was without you guys here either. Likewise.
The reality is, this train was incredible, but to be here with my dad, who is 70 years old, made it all the more special. It was a reminder that these simple moments together should never be taken for granted, because as we get older, it becomes harder and harder to do these types of things together, especially as a family. I think that is what makes this so incredible, to be able to experience these moments, and it's a comforting feeling to finally be able to give back after all those years our parents spent raising us.
My friends, I can say after about maybe 2 hours on this railroad, but that truly was the best railway ride I've ever been on. As someone who never even realized how much he loves trains, I'm gonna be doing a lot more train rides like this around the world. All aboard! That, my friends, was an incredible ride on the best train and most scenic train you can find in America.
After this incredible journey through Skagway, our final 2 days were going to be spent on the cruise, sailing through glaciers towards the city of Whittier, Alaska.
Today is our second to last day aboard the cruise ship, and I will tell you, from when we started this journey till now, the weather is vastly different up here in Alaska. We are on our way to Whittier, Alaska right now, and there sure are some beautiful sights we're going to be seeing along the way. It's been a hit or miss, I'd say, every hour or so, whether or not we can see anything out here. But right now the views are pretty spectacular. It is just vast wilderness all into the distance right here. Stretches of forest land, no sign of any human life around here, just the massive cruise ship and the bro and the dad.
When the ship made it over to the southern coast of Alaska, all we could see was the vast wilderness. There was no sign of any civilizations or buildings, making it feel completely isolated from the modern world. But I think this is what created the magic of it. There was mist and fog, and a feeling like nobody was around. Maybe wolves, bears, and maybe all sorts of different animals were out there, but very few people. This wild place was beautiful, but also a little scary to imagine such a vast place in the world. It was a strange feeling being so close to the wild, almost like being lost at sea, but at the same time feeling very safe inside of this floating hotel or cruise ship. It was a special feeling that not many people have experienced, as to get here any other way is almost impossible. Our trip so far had brought us through 3 stops along the way, and that journey alone already showed us that Alaska is so different from what one would typically imagine, and it left me craving the feeling of wanting more. The truth is, Alaska feels so lonely because of how few people live there, even though it is huge. But when you're right in the middle of its nature, it somehow doesn't feel empty at all, but it feels full in a way that is much different than what it's like being in a busy place with so many humans around. We had an exciting time traveling by sea, but the next step of this journey would take us off the ship and through the vast lands of Alaska. So in our next video, we will travel deep into the wilderness, to see what life in the most isolated state in the country feels like. See you in part 2. If you enjoyed this video, you're going to love this one. And don't forget to check the link down in the description below to Plod AI, which is the biggest note-taking hack of 2025.